Wow, what a comeback. So, what did it take for you guys to erase a 19-point deficit and win this game today?
We've seen our team do this time and time again. Not down 19, but we get down and they don't worry about it. They just keep fighting, keep playing hard. The fourth quarter, they were so locked in during timeouts, and we were coaching them, and they were locked in, really focused, trying to do exactly what we said. But they had to make hustle plays. They had to get big stops. They had to kind of rise up defensively and put a little more pressure on the ball. I thought a big key to the game. Maddie went in the last 5 minutes of the game and did not give up a single drive. She kept stopping drives on the baseline. Emma Middleton was huge in the last 5 minutes of the game. She fought so hard to keep their center from having any touches. And then we continued just running plays where we could execute and either get a layup or a backdoor cut, and our players hit shots. I didn't even look at our free throws, but down the stretch, you got to know that there's going to be some contact. You got to be able to make free throws. Taylor Morgan's good for a bunch of free throws. She's doing a great job, going against pressure and handling that and getting to the free throw line. So just a great team effort. Really credit our team for, embracing. We talk about grit, don't quit. And, man, they showed a lot of grit tonight, a lot of grit and toughness, and stayed together as a team. We knew that this would be, a tough game against New Mexico State, where we had to stay together as a team and not try to go rogue, but just run what we run every day in practice. And just really proud of our players for being able to do that. We, dug ourselves a big hole. They just continue fighting.
So you guys only had one made three this game. So how were you able to get your offense working even though your threes weren't falling tonight?
Yeah, the pressure out on the perimeter eliminated some wide open looks for us, but it makes you kind of vulnerable to getting beat off dribble drives and getting beat off backdoors. We were able to feed our post player just about any possession because they were pressuring out on the perimeter so much. And so our players just did a really good job of trying to get the ball in the paint as much as possible.
So what was it like in the locker room during halftime? What did you tell the team in order to start motivating them, especially after New Mexico State going on that big run in the second?
It was just super encouraging words at halftime, and I am kind of stubbornly positive and really try to be optimistic even when we face adversity. And we had some pretty hard coaching in there, though, at halftime, but I think they understood that, hey, if we'll just do X, Y, Z, we're going to be okay.
What does a win like this help? How does that affect you guys, especially heading into this next weekend where you guys are heading to Seattle and California?
Yeah, the WAC is proven to be really challenging, and there are going to be games like this every single night. That's what we've seen so far, and it's going to continue. On the road, you've got to take your defense with you. You've got to rebound on the road. You're playing people that are playing on their home courts where they shoot. They practice every day, and so we've got to do a great job of being diligent with our defensive intensity, finishing possessions with blockouts and rebounds. But to be able to win, finish this 2-week stretch. Half our team hasn't had a break in about 13 days. We were postponed. We had people in quarantine. So the folks that never got to quarantine, they've not had a day off in 13 days. And then the folks coming out of quarantine had one practice and then jumped into these games. And so we're asking a lot of them. And it's so different than every other team in the country. We're all facing this. But our players really, they did a great job for us today. Just we talk a lot about Navy SEALs, and the Navy SEALs say under pressure you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training, and that's what we talked about going into this game. Like, hey, we know we've spent a lot of emotions and energies the last 13 days, but we got to finish strong today. And I will actually credit one of our freshmen. She talked to us this morning at our shoot around about finish strong and just what that means. And I think our team, that made sense to them. Let's finish this 2-week stretch out strong today, and they did it in a valiant effort finishing this game out.
Last question for me for now. Bella Earl, just what are your thoughts on her performance, especially having to step into a role as a freshman?
Yeah, she's okay. She's all right. Yeah, she's just so much fun to coach. I wish everybody could be around her like we are. She's the life of the party all the time. But on the basketball court, she is gritty. She gets after it. She has made some freshman mistakes, and I'm fine with that. As long as you play hard and you play your guts out, I'm fine with those mistakes. And she's really, I think, since we came back from Christmas, things are really clicking for her. She's making really good decisions, really figuring out, when she she's the scoring threat, when she needs to give the ball up. But tonight, her just outrunning everybody was a huge advantage for us, just beating everyone down the floor in primary break. And, when you see that, it's like, hey, if we've got one or two people that can do that, the whole team is capable of doing that. You kind of see someone, giving their best effort like that, and it gives everybody permission to, like, let's get out there, let's exhaust ourselves doing what we need to help this team out.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Was the big thing, keep shutting down the lanes and keeping them from driving to the post? I mean, because for a lot of that game, it was just attack, and there were times when they were just kind of scoring at will.
Yeah, the biggest key to the game was keep the ball in front of you, don't give up drives. You've got to be able to move laterally and not require help side on every single drive, and that happened for about 2.5 quarters. We were just getting beat off the drive so much. We tried zone, we tried man, we changed things up, and we just weren't keeping the ball in front until toward the end of the third quarter. It's like it kind of clicked with us, and again, I thought Maddie Miller did a great job in the fourth quarter of stopping drives. Abella kept the ball in front of her. Emma Middleton worked hard to prevent any post feeds. And they got a couple of offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. But other than that, they weren't really scoring that much in their offense. So, really credit our players for just flying around and, staying big on defense and just keeping them from those easy drives to the basket.
And I got to think, and keeping their composure, because there were times in this game where it looked like it was just, they were just going to run away with it. And for your kids to hang in there and fight, not only fight back and make it close, but win it is big.
Yeah, just it took a lot of composure and I think belief in themselves, belief in what we were trying to ask them to do, and just continue to fight hard. There's no reason to have any energy after the game. And our bench was phenomenal tonight. They were cheering hard. They were encouraging. They were counting down shot clocks. Everybody was giving their best effort, and that's what it takes to win games at this level.
I think a lot of it was also you guys really needed a win now, especially going on this long trip and considering some of the people you're going to play. Yeah,
I consider 2-2 through the course of the last 2 weeks phenomenal. Our players really stepped up, and this was a big game. We really needed to finish this one off, and our players just wanted it at the end, and they made the plays they needed to make.
How big was Bella's back-to-back and ones at the end of the third quarter? Because this game was, I think it was 17 at that point. That cut it to 11 going to the fourth. How big were those plays?
Yeah,
they were for the momentum of your.
Yeah, for sure. Bella's really good at backdoor cuts, and we ran a few sets to get her in that position. And just her getting out and outrunning the defense put her ahead of the defense. And she's either getting a wide open layup or you're gonna have to foul her to stop her. So, just her quickness and her willingness to dive into a bunch of traffic, knowing that there's probably gonna be some pretty hard contact, just really helped to jumpstart that fourth quarter.
Was there a sense of that at that point, like, okay, we can do this, or was there kind of a mindset switch, or when did you kind of feel like, hey, we can make this
Yeah,
happen?
I think the way we ended the third quarter was what, we felt like that was a big momentum turn for us, and our players, really trusted what we asked them and believed in themselves, and, just went out and fought really hard.
How nice was the crowd tonight?
The crowd was unbelievable. The last minute of the game, almost everyone across from the bench were on their feet, and it looked completely packed. It was like this huge crowd, and it means so much to our players. We ask our players to generate energy for our team, but when the fans all get into it, it elevates your level of play. It just helps so much. It gives you that encouragement and that support you need to just ball out, and so really appreciate our crowd. And on a night where it's freezing outside and there was things going on in town today, we really appreciate everybody coming out and hope to see that same attendance, night after night through the rest of the gauntlet of this season.
It feels great. We all just kind of picked up the intensity on defense, and getting stops on defense really translated over to offense, and I think that helped us a lot.
Sorry, excuse me. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. No, you're good. When did you sense kind of a momentum shift there? Because Coach just talked about your kind of back-to-back and ones there at the end of the third quarter. Do you guys feel like, hey, here we go. We can go win this game now, right?
Like I said before, our defense really helped the momentum get us going on offense. Offense wins games, but you can't win without defense. And so I really think our defense helped getting stops. All my teammates, we worked together, and we really just came together as a team and got those stops.
Yeah, now I'm ready now. Sorry. So, in the past, we've talked about your mentality and how you want to play game in, game out. So how did that show through tonight, especially after those back-to-back and ones at the end of the third to help you guys sort of be in reach of the game?
Yeah, so Coach Goodenough always preaches grittiness and playing scrappy. And so really throughout my whole time here, we've just practiced that during practice, practicing against each other, outworking each other, and I really think that helped us during the game.
What was it like in the locker room at halftime? Coach Goodenough talked about it, but I want to get your perspective on it. What was it like in the locker room, you guys being down by a good amount at that point? What was kind of y'all's feelings heading into the second half, and how did that kind of spark you to be able to come back and win the game?
Yeah, I really think that going into the locker room, no one was defeated. No one wanted to give up. We're not really a team that gives up so easily. And I really think that some of the players were just cheering each other on. The coaches were cheering us on, and we used that as motivation to go out and play.
So you guys finally took the lead right towards the end of the fourth quarter. How did it feel for you and your teammates after working super hard to come back? How did it feel to finally get that lead?
Yeah, it felt great. We really just worked together as a team. We couldn't have done it if we were playing as individuals, so I really think that coming together really helped us a lot, playing on defense and playing as a whole instead of individuals.
That's all I have, sir.
We talked to Coach Goodenough about this a little bit. How did the offense change a little bit? Because you only 8 3-point attempts, you only made one of them. Kind of had to adjust to what New Mexico State was doing defensively. How did you feel about the adjustment? How you guys were able to do it inside?
Yeah, so during the second quarter, we really picked it up on defense, and we were just hungry to get a win and not lose this game, especially after our last few games. And we just used our defense and just pushed the ball super hard, getting open layups, getting fouled, and knocking down free throws.
How important is tonight's win?
It was really important. I think we're going to use this as fire and motivation for our next games, and I only think it's upward from here.